Who, in your opinion, is the most overrated band/artist? What TV show had the worst ending? What joke is starting to get old now? The perfect X doesn't exist. Yeah, I think the format kinda got a little too Facebooky for me. Spontaneous, funny situations that are clearly staged. That's it. That's the tweet. This comment right here. It's like, why bother saying anything at all? It's basically, you said nothing with these. Tell me X without telling me X. Oftentimes, especially on Twitter, people just post a picture if it's like, oh, tell me your favorite video game without telling me. Meh, meh, meh. Today, years old. It was funny exactly once. Now it just sounds idiotic. Item doesn't ring up at register. That must mean it's free. I would like to publicly apologize. I have said this to a cashier and I feel extremely guilty because it was not funny. Not the X we deserve, but the X we need. Or whatever it is. For every single damn thing. You working hard or hardly working? I'm hardly laughing. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. After a paragraph. Do people still attend TED Talks? That's a good question. Do TED Talks still get made? I haven't looked it up in a while. What are some unwritten life rules everyone must know? Your best friend may not consider you their best friend. It never hurts to compliment somebody on the quality of their work, their hobbies, and whatever field is most important to their self-esteem. It always goes a long way. Don't ask for somebody else's opinion and get mad when they tell it to you. Under-promise and over-deliver. People will think you are a genius. Horrible people won't always be punished for hurting others, and it sucks. If someone gives you their phone to look at a picture, don't swipe next to the other pictures. I don't know what goes through a person's mind when they're like, yeah, they gave me their phone. Now I have free reign on all of their information. Don't have strong opinions about something you know nothing about. It's just the safer option, really. Surround yourself with people who will mention your name in a room full of opportunities. Never let anyone take or disturb your peace. Learn to walk away from toxic people. Let go of what you cannot control. It's easier said than done, but it is healthy. What's the most deranged thing you have ever seen anyone do? Worked in an ICU. The patient was being asked their goals of care and if they wanted to be resuscitated. The patient said yes. Her daughter said no. The attending said, well, your mom is still competent, so we have to follow her wishes. The daughter pulled the doctor aside and said, why don't you just give her some medications to put her to sleep? She won't be competent, and then my word goes and you pull the plug? Silence for a while, and then the attending just said, no, we don't do that, very slowly, and escorted the daughter out of the room. The patient made it out of the hospital okay that time anyway. I sometimes wonder how she did after that. I don't know what their situation is, but it seems like bad vibes for the daughter to try and get them to do that. Gal I went to culinary school with, early 90s, all of a sudden started juggling her knives in the hall between classes in front of one of the chef instructors. Yes, she immediately had an 8-inch chef knife stuck 3 inches in the middle of her palm. Chef just sighed, shook his head, and pushed the gal to the office to get her to the ER. Guessing by the chef's reaction, that wasn't his first time seeing that. That feels like the more unfortunate thing here. I was sitting at a cafe once when a man sitting a few tables away from me locked eyes with me. Maintaining eye contact, he leaned over to the vase of willow stems decorating the table and munched them. Just took a whole bite of twig and fuzzy willow bud. Look, maybe the guy was just hungry, you never know. Saw a guy stumble safely across 3 out of 4 lanes of high-speed traffic. That's like saying you saw a guy free fall safely for almost 10 stories. In a nightclub in the late 80s, bloke sitting at a table on his own. He poured what he had left in his pint glass onto the floor, then took a bite out of the glass. Glass severed his top lip. He then sat there bleeding into the glass. There was a lot of blood. Not pretty. Well, there's a new intrusive thought unlocked. Don't do that. No, relock it. Restaurant kitchen, middle of the busiest night of the year. Something went wrong. Not sure what, but I'm pretty sure it was a fairly small setback. Sous chef goes ballistic, screams at some people, then reaches barehanded into the blast oven and grabs out 2 scorching hot bowls of baked soup. Ruins his hands and throws them into the window with the skin from his palms visibly stuck to it in places. He immediately calms down, walks off the line to treat his hands, came back out to try and direct from the front for a bit, then at some point just went home without saying anything. Came back a week or two later, divorced from his wife. Sounds like that man's cheese finally slipped off his cracker. You know, I'd say divorce is a pretty good excuse to lose your mind like that. Hopefully his hands are doing okay. I saw a woman at a retail store lie in the floor and turn an empty shopping cart on top of her, then proceed to start screaming like she was in pain. I promptly told the manager she had staged the whole thing. What was she trying for, a lawsuit? I was just standing here and your cart flipped over and tried to eat me. A lady on the bus screamed at me once because she thought I had stolen her knees. Did you give them back? I did not. Okay, so you're not denying that you stole her knees. My husband saw a mentally ill man walking in the street, picked up roadkill skunk, ripped it open, and started to eat it. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't like that. Not sure this is the most deranged I've seen, but it's what is coming to mind. I was at a house party, and this dude comes in, stands on a table, drops his pants, lights his pubes on fire for a few seconds, pulls his pants back up, and everyone carried on like no big deal. It is best just to ignore things like that. What is the most egregious display of wealth you've ever personally seen? I worked at a university. Every day a sorority girl would park her BMW illegally in the corner on the first floor and get an expensive ticket, and she just paid them off. If you're rich, you can kinda just get away with whatever crime because, oh yeah, you can pay for it. Company owner got a divorce, went on a shopping spree, and showed a receipt for tens of thousands of dollars to our receptionist as a way of showing off, when he spent 80% of what she makes in a year. She was really uncomfortable and brought it to me as the HR person. Feel like there might be some confidentiality issues with you sharing this HR person, but I appreciate it. I have a friend who was employed by a very famous old pop star. She lived on site to his mansion, which itself was a very cute cottage, and was paid more than I am with no rent or bills for said cottage. Her job? To open the curtains of his bedroom in the mornings, put on classical music, and gently wake him up for the day. That sounds sexual. It wasn't sexual. More like, hey big star, I know you're still sleepy, but it's time to get up, etc. I did not see this career path at the guidance counselor's office. Yeah, honestly, I'm feeling a little robbed right now. Custom metal worker. We did the penthouse at the Plaza Hotel in Manhattan, off of Central Park. Owner lived there. The floors were made of titanium plate. The wife had her own massive library, and we had to make a rolling staircase that an old woman could move. We did. Probably cost $80,000. We delivered it and she said, "It's too steep. Can you make another?" $80,000 later, she's happy, and my buddy has a rolling staircase at his workshop. I mean, if it worked out for you guys, then cool. A breakfast place I went to a lot in my hometown. I went to pay for my meal and the waitress was like, "Don't worry, it is covered." Next day, I went back. Once again, my meal was covered. Repeat for the rest of a week, and I was baffled. Apparently, some rich dude liked his breakfast a week ago and bought all orders for the following week and tipped all the staff $10,000 to keep it a secret and cover loss of tips for the week. It was a small mom and pop shop, but that still has to have cost him $100K or something for a meal. There was intentionally no hype, and the other regulars and I were never told who it was. If you ever have just money to blow on anything, do this. This is actually a very good thing to do. Dude just kept grabbing stuff and having me ring it up. At first I was like, you sure? Then it eventually clicked. This guy was on a shopping spree. The shop had no human necessities. I don't remember the total by the end, but it was close to 5 figures USD. Pulled out his black Amex that weighs like a pound, and boom, mile-long receipt. One of the few days I wished I made commission. When I worked at Blue, Justin Bieber spent a stupid amount of money just to ski. He tried to rent the whole resort to make it private, but they wouldn't let him, which I still think is hilarious. This area also has dozens of houses that are all valued well over 10 million, that all sit empty. They're just buildings that billionaires bought on a whim. It'd be so cool if billionaires would, sell those houses so people could maybe buy them, but no, we gotta keep the money there. What's something extremely popular, but you just can't give a care about it? Influencers. They have a different vibe than I have/aspire to have. Different ways of expressing themselves, different values, different beauty standards, etc. I can't be bothered to pay attention to my own life, and you want me to care about somebody I saw in a movie? Gender reveal parties. Alright, I think it's time we leave gender reveal parties in 2022 because why? What's the point? Yeah, you can throw a party for woohoo, we're having a baby, but who cares? TikTok. Never got into it. Honestly, you're probably better for it. My brain has so little attention span now because of of TikTok, it's actually bad. Followers on social media. But when the number bigger, I feel better. The royal family. It's kind of crazy that in modern day, we still sort of respect the royal family, even though they don't, like, do they have power? What's the point? Elon Musk and all celebrities. They aren't part of my life, so why should I take time from my life to think about the crap they're doing? The only unfortunate thing is that Elon forces his way into your perception no matter how hard you try to avoid it. The Kardashians. I still have no idea how they ever became famous. And I honestly don't care, really. Reality TV. Let's put reality in heavy quotes there, because we all know it's not real. Starbucks. Yeah, I just make coffee at home. I ain't paying $8 or whatever. Drake. I hate the Drake. I do love the Drake jokes, though. I can't lie. It is kind of funny just to rag on Drake for some reason. Like, I can't explain it. Redditors who grew up in small towns. What was the incident? It was hushed up, but the former sheriff of my hometown stole people's lawnmowers and sold them for scrap for close to a decade. Weird place. See, it just goes to show you, even in small towns, all cops are, you know the rest. The incident involved sheep. A flock of sheep kept on the town green migrated through a broken fence into the adjacent cemetery. The sheep became known as the lambscapers because they did a better job of manicuring the cemetery grounds than the maintenance person. A guy robbed the bank, then ran to his house to hide. That was down the street. Took the cops an embarrassingly long time to get him. Pastor's son got caught jerking it to gay in the walk-in freezer at the Pizza Hut. He did not work at that Pizza Hut. The gay stuff is fine, but you're not even working there, man. How did you get there? Some cheerleaders pooped on a pizza at cheer camp and blamed the rival high school's cheerleaders. George Bush, president at the time, even spoke about it. Teacher swinger's sex ring got exposed. Everyone in the school and their parents found out pretty quick. Middle school vice principal ended up divorcing his wife due to later swinging incident. Fighter pilot drew a dick in the sky. That doesn't sound like an incident, it sounds like an event. A slasher movie was filmed here, and before production began, the town cleaned up and painted one of the main areas that was going to be used in the movie. The studio then had to bring in a team to undo all the cleaning and painting because it no longer looked authentic. I can see the townsfolk getting upset at that, but the director's vision and all that. Our high school principal cheated on her husband with another married staff member, and that guy's wife sent him flowers with a card that said, "Happy Valentine's Day, adulterer." The kids that worked as assistants in the front office saw it and told everyone. Okay, but that is like the juiciest gossip to get as a high school kid. Like, oh, that'd be awesome. Remember when the animals got loose in Ohio? That one. I knew the guy. He was nuts. Windstorm broke open cages of bunnies from the 4-H program, and ton of them got loose. Several years later, you can't seem to go around a corner without seeing several wild rabbits. What is the least attractive name? My mom wanted to name me Shagufta. No matter what the ethnicity or country of origin of the person I tell this to, they can't stop laughing. No, that is not my name. Thank goodness for my dad. My real name is Tuna. I might win this one. Yeah, whatever, fish boy. My mom wanted to name me Deathany, like Bethany, but unique. So like, Deathany? Metal. When you think of it in that context, it is a little cool, but outside of that, yeah, not really. I have a customer named Cinderetha. They couldn't just go with Cinderella, like it's already a complicated name. Pubert. Oh, I love that. I think that's my favorite. Rifle? Like rifle? What an awful way to spell it. Jeez. Homer used to be good. Named after a famous writer. Now you only think of The Simpsons dunce. What, you don't want to be named after a good father? There was a college football player named Tate, which was short for Tathan. Oh, buddy. Cletus. While it's not good to judge a book by its cover, the name Cletus doesn't give good energy. Shout out to everyone searching for their name. Oh god, do people think Brandon is an unattractive name? I know a dude whose literal real name is Prince Magic. I don't know, that's kind of bad. It does make you think they're a little self-centered, but they also didn't really choose the name, so... Dilda. I had a great aunt Dilda. This sounds like you're saying Dilda with an accent, and I kinda like it. Teachers of Reddit, what was an inappropriate comment or behavior you had to discipline a student for, yet you secretly thought was hilarious? I teach kindergarten. One of my sweetest little girls, coming inside from recess, smiles and says, "Man, it's f***ing cold outside." I asked her to repeat herself, and sure enough, I heard her her correctly. Hard not to laugh. I was tutoring a kid, definitely on the autistic spectrum, after school. He asked to go to the bathroom. After 15 minutes, I knocked on the door. He opened the door and said, "Oh, sorry, I was just baiting," incredibly nonchalantly. Caught off guard, I just replied, "Wash your hands, please." Kindergartner shoved her hand into the spinach at the salad line in lunch, held it up and shouted, "Leafs is for sheep," before throwing it in the ground in disgust. I had to walk away while another teacher scolded her for wasting food because I couldn't keep a straight face. Had a fun and witty math teacher in high school who'd spar back and forth with kids on occasion, all in good fun. He got me one time, so I, 6'3", said to him, 5'2", "Well, there's one thing I'll always have on you." He replies, "What's that?" I say, "About 1.5 feet." Classmates laugh until he responds, "Yeah, but not where it counts." Everybody lost it. Class over. I know that teacher went home so happy, like so proud, like, yeah, I got him. Male teacher here, teaching sex ed, going over methods of protection. I was talking about condoms and this guy said, "Hey, Mr. Username, you know that barcode at the base of every condom?" I said, "Don't think I've ever noticed that." He replied, "Oh, I guess you ain't gotta roll yours down that far, huh?" I laughed probably harder than I should have. That is such perfect execution, amazing form, brilliant comeback. One student crawled under desk and bit on another student's toe. They are over 10 years old. Children are animals, you know. Once had a kid with ADHD, regularly late, really late. One time he turned up and I said, "John, you're late again. It's nearly 11 o'clock. He replied, "What's the problem? You're open all day." John is the main character. Kid printed 1,000 copies of Danny DeVito photoshopped into a chip and labeled Danny Dorito and taped copies of it everywhere. Come on, you can't discipline that kid. That's awesome. South Indian immigrant kid. Strong accent. Kids were riffing yo mama jokes. Kid hems and haws and gets everyone's attention. Then drops, "I, too, would make fun of your mother, except that cows are sacred in my culture." Instructional mandate to cover the Holocaust, and kid who's never really paid attention chimes in to say, "I don't know who Hitler is, but she sounds like a Karen." You know, if they have that basic level of understanding, then it's fine. What is the one sport that you think shouldn't exist? Any sport that involves animals fighting. Yeah, I mean, they are illegal, but of course people still do them. Bullfighting. It's cruel. But it is funny when the matadors get launched into the air. The last 2 minutes of basketball games. Curious what the record length is of the last 2 minutes of the game. It's at least 2 minutes. Fox hunting. It's not even hunting. You're just on horseback and letting a gang of dogs kill the fox for you. A lot of people think it's not legal, but the fox hunters have found loopholes. Real life Quidditch. That's not a sport. That's cosplay with an extra step. So LARPing? Would you consider LARPing a sport? I don't know what really qualifies there. Competitive eating. Just why? Triple jump for sure. It's the guy who can't beat his rival in long jump, but yeah, can you jump further doing this as well? Huh? Nah, knew you couldn't. I win. What movie was so bad you didn't even finish it? So far, I think it's been Cats. That movie just, oh my lord. Jack and Jill. Though, to be fair, it was one of my first dates with my now boyfriend, so we got to bond over shitting on the movie. The Artemis Fowl movie. Big fan of the book. First movie in a while I turned off in the first 30 minutes. Cats. Got to the Corden part and my GF just looked at me and I silently turned the movie off. I need to see if there's a drinking game so it can at least be fun to watch it, you know? Not surprising, but one of the later Transformers. My friend and I wanted to watch it and rip it apart, but it was so bad it wasn't even funny. Maybe the 6th one with the boss with the car collection? 50 Shades of Grey. No, the sex stuff didn't bother me. I am far from a prude, but this movie in my opinion was just dumb. I made it through like the first 45-ish minutes and gave up. Yeah, from bits I've seen, the story in it is just like, who cares, you know? The Emoji Movie. Oh yeah, forgot about that. I think I watched like 10 minutes. I'm like, cool, I get it. I'm not watching this. Suicide Squad is one of the rare movies I actually fell asleep while watching it at the theater. Funnily enough, I also fell asleep in a theater watching a DC movie, and I never fall asleep in theaters. The movie in question? Batman v Superman. Just, I don't know why, it's just so boring. Live action Mulan. They didn't even play the Make a Man Out of You song. That was like my favorite part of the animated one. And where the hell is Mushu? The crap hole live action Avatar The Last Airbender. Oh yeah, I think I've seen like 10 minutes and I was like, nah, Nah, I'm good. Aloha. It was increasingly painful to listen to Emma Stone talk about how she's native Hawaiian and a quarter Asian. I love Emma Stone, but no, you can't believe that. That's just poor casting. If water is the base drink, then what is the base food? Your local carb. Rice in some places, wheat in others, and C. Chemically, it would have to be sugar. Culturally, it depends on the region. In my area, northwestern Europe, it is bread. Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. The souls of the innocent. Crunchy. Chicken. When the food designer forgets to override the base class, it always tastes like chicken. Cheetos. No, I can't agree with that one. I don't like Cheetos, and there's no way that that's the base food. Fruits and vegetables. Technically right, but kind of a nerd answer. What is the stupidest thing you believed in as a child? For some reason, I thought every car that was made had to do a crash test. Probably because my dad once told that our car had a very good rating in the crash test. I was amazed by the fact that all cars were repaired so well before being sold. That the black market was a real place. I always wondered why the police didn't just go there and arrest everyone for their bad crimes if they knew about it. Aw, listen, don't beat yourself up. Everyone believes that cops do something when they're younger. That the whole world was one country and its flag was the Brazilian one. Are you from Brazil? If not, that makes it 100% funnier. I'm from Chile, LOL. When I was 7, I found out vaguely about the Polar Express and begged my dad to let me watch it. My dad then proceeded to tell me it was a historical reenactment of an event just like the Titanic, but with a train. It took me 3 years to discover this was a lie. When I was in kindergarten, I was sick and the school called my dad. They said they couldn't reach him because he was tied up. I literally thought my dad was tied up. I was crying thinking my dad was tied to a railroad track or something. I think I had been watching too much Roadrunner and Coyote on Looney Tunes. My mom told me that rocks were soft until you touched them. I would try to sneak up on the rocks, but it never worked. No, she's right. Rocks are soft until you touch them. That a watermelon would grow inside me if I swallowed a seed. That one episode of Rugrats made me so worried about this happening. I wish I could go back in time to when those were my problems, like worrying about a watermelon growing inside of me instead of taxes. I thought the world was actually black and white in the 1900s, and that's why there was no color in old videos/pictures. I was a special child. So the original Wizard of Oz switches to color while in Oz. So I straight up thought the color TV was invented halfway through filming. Like they were just filming, then boom, color TV invented. So then they used color in it. I thought this for so long. Longer than I want to admit though. I used to think that people actually died in movies, and it was heartbreaking for me to watch movies. I mean, you can't blame you too much because as a kid, it's really hard. Like that line of fiction and reality is really blended. You can't really tell. It's stupid, but sort of sweet. I used to believe that my older sister painted the sky since she was so good at painting. Aw, that is actually kind of wholesome. I thought the sun and moon followed me wherever I went. Actually, there are a ton of adults who believe this still. They think the universe revolves around them. If you had the ability to forget an entire movie/series and watch it again, what would it be? I think it would be Everything Everywhere All at Once, that and or JoJo, because I like both of them a lot and they were really cool. The Chernobyl miniseries, it's a masterpiece. Black Mirror. That is the unfortunate thing of Black Mirror. Once you know the twist of it, it kind of loses the same feeling. Breaking Bad. That was an experience I would love to have for the first time again. Avatar: The Last Airbender. I will always love that series and I wish I was able to enjoy it for the first time again. I do wonder if I had my memory erased and I could see it again now, if I would get the same enjoyment out of it as I did when I was a kid. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. Honestly, I've seen them a few times and I kind of forget most of them anyway, so I don't know. The Good Place. I watched a video essay about it a few months before I watched it as I had no plan to at the time. Obviously, I ignored the spoiler warnings, and while I still really enjoyed it, I feel like I would have enjoyed it much more if I hadn't. It's definitely one of those shows to go into blind because it's kind of a twist fest, like you never know what to expect. Harry Potter. Does that include the books too? Being able to read the books like it's for the first time would be amazing. The Matrix. Especially the first one. Death Note. Oh god, just the suspense in that show. Oh, it'd be so good to feel that again. Memento. Still haven't watched it, but I know it's a little crazy. Stranger Things. You know, I agree. I at least want to rewatch the first season completely fresh because it is such good TV. The following seasons, I got some words. first. What screams insecurity, but most people don't realize? When you achieve something or improve your life in any way, and their first instinct is to tease or make fun of you, it actually screams instant jealousy, mocking other people's insecurity. It's usually projection, always having something negative to say when something good happens to someone else. For example, oh, you're going to hate that new job, or they should have done X instead. Just be happy that someone else is happy, never apologizing. Some people will twist the story, change the way it happened, and retell it so convincingly that they'll believe their own nonsense but will never apologize, constantly talking on other people for an inflated sense of self-worth, taking a situation that was never about you or had you involved in it, and somehow making it all about yourself and playing victim, even though you had meddled in it, and make yourself the victim, mocking/overly criticizing others, explaining how smart you are. I do think there's some room for bragging in certain cases, but don't take it too far. Insulting your friend in front of others to be cool definitely depends on the friend dynamic, but yeah, not the best. Jealousy over little things. Jealousy in general just isn't a good tell. What was ruined because too many people did it? Subscription everything, especially software. I want to buy Office/AutoCAD one time and use it for a decade. I don't want to buy it every year. We had an amazing Halloween house in our small town, walking distance from my place. Every year, the family who owned it would bring in Hollywood-level props and lighting and 10 or so actors in full regalia to replicate a Pirates of the Caribbean scene all around the property. The Jack Sparrow was a dead ringer for Johnny Depp. Every kid would get a bag full of real candy, not the mini Halloween stuff. Unfortunately, people started coming from other towns, and it turned into a mob scene to the point that cops had to direct traffic and they shut it down. Craft fairs. Now they're crowded with dozens of MLMs. I just want to find knitted slippers made by an old lady who clearly has a drinking problem, not more Norwex. Visiting major historical sites. Most of them have been turned into badly maintained, super expensive tourist traps. Add in the trash and damages tourists do, and yikes. You used to be one of only a few people around bidding on storage lockers. It used to be a fun hobby I gave up on because it became too popular and people are grossly overpaying for the lockers, which is oftentimes just paying to make a dump run for someone. Thrift shopping. I can say the biggest issue is the drop shippers who go in and actually find good vintage clothes or items, whatever, and sell them for like triple the price. Airbnb. Unreasonably expensive. You have to do chores while you're there, but you still have to pay a cleaning fee. Just get a hotel. It's probably cheaper. Flying drones. Thanks to all the idiots doing dumb with them, it's not even worth getting into the hobby nowadays. You pretty much can't fly anywhere worth flying. Need all sorts of permits, are constantly risking hefty fines, or even being investigated for terrorism. No thanks. Ad block. Now every website has a warning. It used to be a rare sight. Fun fact, you can block ad block warnings. Technically, they're ads. Cooking shows. It used to be a few talented chefs who had shows to teach. Now it's every damn celebrity who can or cannot cook making the same recipes as everyone else. The Appalachian Trail. People leaving their trash everywhere is really ruining the trail, and it's so effing crowded now. Always remember to leave no trace. If you go on hikes or anything outdoors, don't throw trash into the trees, you psycho. Driving to work early. I used to do it, but now it's the same as morning rush hour. Just go earlier and skip sleep. Just keep a pillow on your desk. I love this stage of capitalism. It's awesome. If you had the ability to bring back a canceled series, what would it be? Forever. A bit ironic that it was canceled after the first season. Great actors, great characters. I want TLC and the History Channel to go back to being about learning and history. Unfortunately, that'll never happen. Amazon's version of The Tick. It was canceled for a stupid reason. New TV exec took over and wanted to scrap all the shows from previous TV exec. I would bring back I Am Not Okay With This. That first season held so much promise, and I would have loved to see how dark they could have made the story go. But I suppose a good show getting canceled is Netflix's MO at the moment. Better Off Ted. Genuinely have no idea what this show is. Travelers. I loved that show. Pushing Daisies. I remember watching this show when I was younger. I don't remember exactly what happened other than the dude could bring people back to life. It seemed really cool. Metalocalypse. A lot of those old Adult Swim classics just, why? Why are they gone? Dead Like Me, without a second's doubt. Heroes, but only if they go back to how season 1 was. After reading this thread, it should be titled, Which Shows Should You you never start because you'll be disappointed by not having a concision. Thanks to all of you, I know what to avoid. Also, Game of Thrones. I wish they hadn't stopped at season 6. I hope they decide to finish it someday. What is a green flag you've experienced on a first date that made you want to have a second date? Them going on a first date with me? That's kind of it. We talked about everything and the conversation never dulled. Everyone at the party left and we were the only 2 people there and didn't realize it for a while. 25 years later and we're still running our mouths. When my girlfriend and I had our first date, her mom sent her with $50, just in case I made her pay, I guess. And since I paid, she made the waiter cry by tipping him the whole $50. Apparently, he was having a bad day. We had been dating about 6 months and she showed up at my apartment with a homemade cake on my birthday. It might sound like no big deal to some people, but I had never dated a girl who cared about my birthday. I almost dropped to my knees and cried when I opened the door. On our third date, we watched a movie at his place. He remembered that on our first date, I ordered a Dr. Pepper with my meal and a chocolate chip cookie for dessert. He had Dr. Peppers for me in the fridge and made me homemade chocolate chip cookies. He burned them, but I married him 2 years later anyways. Would you have married him sooner if he hadn't burned the cookies? It's a valid question. She came to my door and my puppy got excited. Without skipping a beat, she scooped up the dog and asked where the 3 of us were going. That was 19 years ago. Puppy is gone, but we've stuck together through hell and back. She appreciates all the small things. Biggest green flag. It's a good song. Not sure if that's where they were going with that. I think they were talking about their pants, but whatever. First date. She was driving us to a spot to go hiking, about an hour's drive. We're talking and talking, but every once in a while we wouldn't be talking, and it just felt so comfortable and not awkward being silent together. US wants to ban TikTok. What are your thoughts? Don't care. Honestly, it's probably for the best. The type of information they are being accused of tracking should not be available to any app makers. If the device allows that to be info to be passed to an app, in my opinion, that's a problem with the security of the device, not just something we should blame on the app. Instead of banning TikTok, we should have some real privacy laws and put it on the manufacturers of the operating system to enforce them. They're not just tracking info, they are siloing and artificially boosting some types of content and downplaying others. Sounds like they're trying to get rid of the symptom of privacy concerns and not the problem, which is how no tech company or corporation respects individual privacy. As a former teacher, I worry about how it's impacting kids. Many of them watch it for hours, daily, and there's been tons of issues with them following idiotic TikTok trends. It also is used by a lot of minors, so security issues are concerning. I don't think the first reason is enough to ban it, but the second might be. Would probably be the best for everyone. Honestly, my attention span is so ruined because of TikTok, like I'm just stun locked every time I open it. Like the attack pattern is worse than Dark Souls, I'll tell you that. On the one side, I think it would benefit the psychology of a lot of people, both kids and adults. On the other side, there are hella hot women showing off their armpits on TikTok, and I don't know what I'd do if that went away. They are raising a fair point, let's hear them out. Where will Reddit's hate point if it's gone? To itself. Either to itself or to any other social media, Reddit has no problem fighting anything. Nothing will change. YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels will fill the void. YouTube and Instagram don't send nearly as much data to the CCP though. Doesn't matter. It'll get replaced by something else. I think that I should have tamales for dinner tonight. How did it go if you ate? Pretty delish. Oh, okay, we're just not talking about TikTok. Okay. I don't use TikTok myself, but I hate the idea. This is a very slippery slope. What is so ridiculously overpriced, yet you still buy? Rent, I would say, is one of the bigger ones. I can't believe how much people spend on alcohol at a bar. Bars really are the true scam because, my lord, there's no reason a 12-ounce beer should cost $8. Glasses. I could always buy cheap ones, but I'd rather pay money to have nice frames that I actually like wearing rather than a pair I couldn't care less about. Health insurance / medical supplies. Oh, how great it is to be an American. Food with current inflation, else you die. Lettuce. Yeah, I think I did see there was a lettuce shortage or something. Warhammer 40k minis. Well, look, if you have priorities, then I understand. What TV show had the worst ending? X-Files. Tried to tie several story arcs together that directly contradicted one another and did it with a clip show. Heroes. God, the writer's strike really had that show go wildly off the rails. Pretty Little Liars. The creator never even knew how it would end. I hate that show because it was great for the first maybe 2 seasons, then just terrible from then on. House of Cards. I wasn't super into like political dramas, so maybe I'll watch it now, but Kevin Spacey, I mean, Merlin has a pretty horrible ending. Seasons 4 and 5 really felt like the show was beginning to do something special, then it just ends. Merlin. What the hell was it all for? Arthur rejects magic and they're back to square one. BBC Sherlock. The whole reason I love that show was the mystery being explained by cold hard logic and the powers of observation. The entire last season was basically Sherlock's sister has mind control which takes effect within seconds. Total BS and I hate it. That was my favorite TV series of all time and I felt physically ill when they just murdered the whole season like that. My Name is Earl. I know it got canceled and whatnot, but for F's sake, they couldn't frigging finish that show? The original ending of Dexter. Who thought that was a good idea? Who, in your opinion, is the most overrated band/artist? This thread is the perfect thread to display Reddit's age demographics. I don't even know who Machine Gun Kelly is. Good. You'll be glad you don't. DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled! Said by DJ Khaled. Reminder to sort by controversial. Adam Levine. How long did Girls Like You top the charts? Too long. Chris Brown. The dude shouldn't have a career right now. Still baffled that he has one at all. DJ Khaled. Cool song. Mind if I scream my name over it? J-Lo. I don't think I've heard any J-Lo music in like the past 10 years. Drake's singing voice is terrible. He sounds like an unbalanced washing machine. Rare insult. Interesting. Chris Brown. The fact he still has fans is disgusting. Jack Harlow. Without question. I might be showing my age. Can you be showing your age at 34? But this person sounds like a cologne. Yet another rare insult. I'm loving these. I gotta go find my notepad to write these insults down, so I gotta go. Thank you guys so much again for watching. Once again, my name has been Brandon, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!
Ooh, wow, goodbye.